This is Ed Robinson from Kensington College. Today we'll be talking about building a static library. What is a static library? It's compiled code that we can use or reuse in our project. We're going to be making two separate projects. One is going to be the static library itself, and the other is going to be a program that we're going to use, a console application that we're going to use to run to use our static library. So let's start off by making our library first. We'll make a new project, and we'll make a it's best to choose this wizard. I think we can preclude the option of using a precompiled header that way. So anyway, we'll choose the desktop wizard and we'll call it My Library. And then we need to be careful here to choose our static library and no precompiled headers. And we'll have now we're going to add some files. Want to add a source code file, in this case source CP is good enough name for the moment, and then we can add a header file as well. Header file, for want of a better name, we'll call it exp for experimental, I guess. And so we should have something looking like this. Then we can take a look at what we can do is to place some code in that header file. Which is just a class declaration along with some function prototypes. And in the source code file we can put our functions, which is indeed the library functions. I can now build that project, and we should find that that's successfully built. It's quite useful at this stage to use Windows Explorer to go to our project, our library project, and take a look. There it is. There's our library file. I also think it's a good idea to have this window open somewhere on your desktop so you can quickly take a look and get the path, so you can keep a record of where the library file is. That's quite important. Indeed, what I'll do I'll just copy that path for the moment, and then I'll go into my Visual Studio and I think I'll just open that file just so we can take a look at that. So we open a file, and if I go to my library, there it is, there actually, the library file. And what I can do is just open that with open with, just to take a look and see what it looks like. We can open it with a binary editor and take a look, and well, there you are. It doesn't mean much, does it? It's just a series of hexadecimal bytes, so it's well and truly compiled and not readable by us. I'll now close this because I'm going to make a new project now to access the library. So once again, I'll start a new project, and I'll use the desktop wizard, and project 1 is good enough, a name for the moment. And the console application, I'll make an empty project with the console application. And in my source code, I'm going to use this source code, which is going to access the library. So I now need to tell this project where the library is, the header files and the library file, as a matter of fact. So I'll go to the project properties and go to the linker and look in particular at the general and the additional library directories. Now, and then I'll go and edit that And this is where it's useful to have the path that I showed you before, which is the path to the library. So I'm just going to copy that and paste that into there and click OK, and you can see that now that's got an additional of the location of my library. You also need to say where the actual library is, the library itself. And once again, I'll take a look at my Project Explorer, and there it is there. I'll just take that name from there, copy that, and then go into the library, linked library, the additional dependencies, and I can edit that and just paste in the name of my library with the extension, and apply or click OK. I also need to let it know where the header file is. So if I go to the maths library, and let's see where the header file is. So if we take a look at the location of the header file, it's in this folder. So I can go to the project properties and include it there. Just to reiterate, the additional libraries was this folder here in my case, and the input was mylibrary.lib, and we also changed the additional include directory. So if we therefore now build that and run it, it should call upon the library and produce the result of 4. I think this does actually bring out the whole idea of object-oriented programming. What is an object? You could really say this is our object, and very roughly speaking, and then this is what it really looks like. It's in a compiled form, and we can actually reuse that, our object, in our program. So this is really what object-oriented programming is all about, reusing compiled objects. It also gives you an idea of what a class is. A class is really a template for creating those objects.